You're with Clement Manyathela.
7:02.
22 minutes before 11 o'clock. It's D-Day. Paul O'Sullivan is appearing before the Ad Hoc Committee in Parliament. That testimony expected to begin in the next, 22 minutes or so. So Paul O'Sullivan finally going to appear physically this morning. So how did they get him to come without being subpoenaed? Also, there seems to be a commitment from Brown Mokgotsi as well to appear in the coming days. I've invited Mdumiseni Ntuli, who's the chief whip of the ANC, and Ian Cameron, who is the DA committee, the police committee chair, who sit also on that committee. Mdumiseni, let me start with you. Good morning. Thank you for making time for us. How did you as the committee get Paul O'Sullivan to agree to come physically to Parliament?
Good morning, Clement, and the listeners, and good morning to my colleague, Ian. Clement, you know that there were several exchanges between the Ad Hoc Committee and Mr. O'Sullivan. And at the point when the Speaker intervened to help us to follow the processes and the procedures as required by the legislation, I would imagine that Mr. O'Sullivan then understood that unless he complies with our request, the inevitability is going to happen where we subpoena him and we may end up in a back and forth litigation between him and Parliament, something that, as he said in his own affidavit, is an experience that he has been subjected to over time, and I'm sure he doesn't want to repeat it, at least with Parliament.
And Ian, I mean, right now then, because he had complained about his security, does this mean that Parliament has now arranged with him to get the security that satisfies him, or are they using parliamentary protection services?
Morning, Clement. Morning, Mdu, and to the listeners. Yeah, and indeed, there would have been an assessment of some kind. Mm-hmm. We're not privy to all the details of that, and I think it's a good thing that it's kept as close as possible to him. Obviously, there are significant challenges, or could be significant challenges regarding security. We've seen issues around the Madlanga Commission as well. So we understand that there are potential risks and even potential threats. Mr. O'Sullivan also shared some of those in his submissions to the Ad Hoc Committee. And whether members, even ourselves, agree with them or not, the point is that we need to make sure that the relevant things are in place to ensure that his time before the committee is in a safe space.
Yeah. Mdu, there were some issues with who Paul O'Sullivan wants to take questions from. Has that been resolved? Because he had indicated that he doesn't want to take questions from the EFF and the MK party. I did speak to him this morning and I told him, well, you can't really dictate who asks you or which questions you take and which you don't from the members of that committee. Do you know as a committee how you're going to deal with that so that, he actually does understand that he's in Parliament and he's got a responsibility to respond and interact with the members of Parliament in that committee?
Well, I think Clement, I really hope that he will be persuaded by the discussion that is going to have to ensue between him and us, because whatever position that he holds about any of the political parties, we have to prevail on him to understand that he's appearing before of Parliament, not some subcommittee of the EFF or the MKP, because to take a position like that may equally equate us into something that we are not. But my own, really, I'm quite confident that we will find a way to have a constructive conversation with him to the extent that he'll be persuaded to answer all the questions before.
Ian, what about Brown Mokgotsi? Has any decision been taken on whether he will appear and whether you'll meet his expectation in as far as security is concerned?
Well, I think in terms of Parliament, again, in terms of the Speaker's intervention, I know some of the members might not agree, but I don't think her intervention is wrong. Just like some of the potential witnesses, have reservations about appearing before the committee or potentially litigating against Parliament, I think Parliament itself has a name to protect, has a certain standard to protect. And if we jump too quickly to supposedly summon someone without ticking all the boxes, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, then it could potentially be damaging to Parliament. So we'll obviously see, as you correctly said, what happens in the next few days. I personally think it's to his benefit to appear before the committee, come and speak. It could potentially even be that he wants to clarify matters that he mentioned before the Madlanga Commission. I think it would be unwise of him not to take up the opportunity. And certainly once Parliament does have its ducks in a row, you do not want to get into that kind of litigation, and it will obviously cause for significant public scrutiny as well.
Yeah, well, Ian, Cameron, Mdumiseni, Ntuli, thank you to both of you for speaking to us. I know you have to rush into that committee meeting expected to start in about 15 minutes' time. Mdumiseni Ntuli is the chief whip of the ANC. Ian Cameron is the committee chair for the SAPS committee in Parliament. Both of them sit on that ad hoc committee that's investigating allegations of corruption and political interference in the criminal justice system. What are you hoping to hear from Paul O'Sullivan? After the break, I'm going to play you the interview that I did with him this morning, and I'd like to hear your reaction afterwards.
7:02.
The Clement Manyathela Show.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 13 minutes before 11 o'clock. Here's a conversation I recorded this morning before we went live at 9 with Mizang, forensic investigator, Paul O'Sullivan. Mr. O'Sullivan, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Morning.
How are you feeling ahead of your much anticipated appearance at the Ad Hoc Committee?
Yeah, no, I'm feeling fine. It's time the country heard the truth. They've sat here, they've allowed all these criminals to parade in front of them and give them a pack of lies. And now they're going to get the truth whether they like it or not. And I'm absolutely certain that some of the members of the Ad Hoc Committee will not like the truth, because the truth as it will unfold, I don't want to go into the detail, but it'll come out during my testimony. Mm-hmm. The criminal justice system in South Africa is a big letdown for all the people of South Africa. And it's not because of Paul O'Sullivan, it's because of all the rogue cops. And they're the ones that need to be cleaned out. And I'm going to be identifying some of them during my testimony.
Yeah. So when you say criminals that have lied to the committee, are you referring to Mkhwanazi, Cedric Kabinde, and...
I'm talking about Nkabinde, Masemola, Mkhwanazi, what's the other fellow? I don't know if he's been in the committee, Kumalu. I get mixed up between the Madlanga Commission and Parliament, but the focus on all of this is the Crime Intelligence Slush Fund. You know, back in 2012, when Mkhwanazi was the acting chief of police and Masemola was the acting head of crime intelligence, that slush fund stood at 98 million rand a year budget. And now in 2025, which was the last financial year, it's sitting at 600 million, which is an increase of over 500%. And during that same period, we've had inflation of 113%. Now, one would expect to see a concomitant reduction in the level of crime when more money is being spent on crime intelligence, but the opposite has happened.
But that doesn't prove that they're criminals, does it? Do you have any evidence that will
I'll be presenting the evidence at the commission.
Okay. What happened now? What happened to leading to you coming to the committee to appear physically? Because firstly, you were concerned about your safety. Secondly, you had said you were out of the country.
I was absolutely concerned about my safety, and I'm required to be able to enter and leave Parliament in a secure manner. And they've now arranged that, which obviously I'm not in a position to talk about, but it's been properly taken care of. So I can enter and leave in a secure manner.
Okay. And what happened to the option to actually testify at the embassy while you're in London?
Well, I had to fly back because the committee was wrapping up, and I believed it was important. I didn't have to fly back, by the way. I had business to do in London, which I'm still flying back after I've completed giving my testimony. I have business to do there. But I flew down for a couple of days to provide my evidence, and then I'm flying back up to London where I finish my business.
Okay.
I'm not landlocked. I'm not stuck in this country. I do business in different parts of the world.
Okay. Two last questions before we wrap up, because I know you have to get into a meeting. Did you object to being asked questions by certain members who come from other parties like the EFF and the MK party? And if so, why did you object to taking questions from them?
No, I don't object at all. You know, we play games. They go onto the media and they make allegations. So my response to that was to say, well, I'm not taking questions from them, but they're welcome to ask any questions they want. I'm not afraid. Any person that wants to ask me a question, providing they don't take up too much of my time, they're welcome to ask any question
But
they
also
want.
you can't really dictate to Parliament as to who can and can't ask you questions.
I'm not dictating anything to Parliament.
No, but I thought you said that when they went out to the media, you had said to them.
No,
that,
but if a single person wants to make defamatory comments about me and make allegations about me, I'm entitled to respond, and that's what I've done. And when we talk about Parliament, let's just understand one thing, and I've made this crystal clear in my submission. The people of this country do not report to Parliament. Parliament reports to the people of this country, and they report to the Constitution of this country. And I've spent 36 years of my life fighting crime in this country, and I'm not going to have a couple of rogue MPs in Parliament making defamatory allegations about me. So I'll set the record straight over the course of the next 2 days.
Yeah, to be clear, you are going to take questions from everyone in that committee.
Oh, 100%. Anybody that wants to ask a question can do so.
Okay. Let me ask then lastly about the messages that you had sent to Cedric Nkabinde, Khomotso Phahlane. The committee was concerned that you seemed to be threatening.
I didn't send any messages to Phahlane.
Oh, and then to Cedric Nkabinde while he was on the stand?
And Nkabinde. The only messages I sent to him were not threats. I said, lying to Parliament is a criminal offence and you belong in prison, and I'm going to see to it that that's where you end up, and I intend to do that.
Isn't that a threat when someone is on the stand testifying? You could have sent that later when they got home.
You know what? I'm not going to sit and watch somebody lying through their teeth. Simple as that. The man's a criminal and he's going to prison.
All right. Paul O'Sullivan, thank you so much and all the best.
Cheers.
So that is the conversation with Paul O'Sullivan. He confirms that he is going to take questions from the other members of Parliament, even though he described them as rogue MPs who are making defamatory allegations against him. What are your thoughts? What do you want to hear from Paul O'Sullivan? As I said on the open line when we started the show, there are a lot of allegations that have been made against him. He's been accused of possibly being an agent, but he says these are just parts of lies told about him. He was accused of being one of the rogue elements that are destabilizing the SAPS and wanted to capture every single police officer in the SAPS. He doesn't think he's the problem. As you've heard, he believes that General Khumalo, General Mkhwanazi, Cedric Nkabinde, and Khomotso Phahlane are actually criminals here, and he's got evidence he's going to put up before the committee. But there's no doubt about the influence he's had on some of these law enforcement agencies, particularly IPID. I mean, he enjoyed quite a close relationship with the former head of IPID, Robert McBride. McBride himself did say that there is information that Paul O'Sullivan used to give him that was quite helpful in the execution of his duties. There are claims that, in fact, operations of IPID were coordinated at Paul O'Sullivan's house. But Robert McBride said, no, we were not coordinating anything, but I've been to his house and I've enjoyed a braai. And one of the things that he will probably have to explain is why he threatened the witnesses. Because if really you're not trying to threaten the witness, why are you not waiting until they're done with their testimony and then you can send them like a message and say, I'm actually going to take you to court? Why are you sending someone who is under oath on a witness stand in Parliament an SMS telling them that I'm going to make sure you end up in jail while they're testifying? I mean, of course that's going to get to their head. So I think they may ask him to probably even apologize for that. But if you know Paul O'Sullivan, you know that he's probably not going to take that lying down. He's probably going to try fight that, even apologize for calling some of the members of Parliament rogue MPs who are making defamatory statements against him. I suspect some MPs are going to push for that. They're going to push for him to apologize to some of the MPs. But Will they get through to him? I wonder. What are your thoughts? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
702
WhatsApp Clement
on 072
702.
1702.
All right, I'm taking your WhatsApps responding to the conversation I had with Paul O'Sullivan. But yeah, if you've been anticipating his appearance before the Ad Hoc Committee, what are you hoping for? What do you want to hear from him? He says, and I'm really interested in this, he says he is going to reveal evidence of criminality on the part of General Mkhwanazi, on the part of General Mdumiseni, the part of Cedric Nkabinde, who is the Chief of Staff for the Police Minister, and on Khomotso Phahlane, who is the former National Police Commissioner. My question then would be, if he has always known about the criminality of General Khumalo and General Mkhwanazi, why has he not raised that before with the police? I know with General Khomotso Phahlane, he has been involved in sharing information. He has. In fact, he's been one person who's been pushing for Khomotso to face like a criminal charges. But with these other two, I'm struggling with that. Like, why are you only revealing their criminality now, if indeed he even has evidence to present? Let's hear what some of your thoughts are.
Clement, Paul O'Sullivan, uyadelela, simple as that. He's just disrespectful. And I hope they're going to grill him. Thank you, Clement. Tyro here.
Hey, morning, Clem. Opian first of all. Clement, I agree with O'Sullivan. I think if Nkabinde was lying under oath, and then O'Sullivan had the right to reprimand him there and there by sending him the SMS. Clement, we have seen under oath, this you are Brown Mokhotzis, you are Shadrach Sibias, making a mockery out of our commissions, whether you are under oath or you are not under oath. In fact, this under oath, they don't respect it. The fact that you can lie under oath, then nothing happens to you. I don't see anything wrong with that, what O'Sullivan did. I think it was the right thing to go about, because we have seen these people lying under oath and making a mockery out of these commissions. So let's hear what he's going to answer them in Parliament. Thank you.
Yeah, let's hear. Simon says, hi, Clement. I think the MPs in the Ad Hoc Committee today are going to meet their match, because they will be interrogating someone who's not scared of them. There's going to be fireworks today. Yeah, Simon, I agree with you. He is not scared of the members of Parliament. And then Hloni says, good day, Clement. What I don't understand about, where is that? What I don't understand about South Africa's culture of having an ace up my sleeve. If one has information that can help with a certain crime or situation, info must be given immediately and not years later or up until one is implicated. Paul O'Sullivan wants to talk about something which happened years back. That's a message from Hloni there in Leondale.